Okay. All right, let's do it. Okay. So first of all, I want to say welcome to all of you guys. Thank you so much for joining. I know it's Saturday. You guys are busy. You have part-time jobs. I mean, life's hectic, right? But the goal of all of this is to put you guys into a process or a pipeline that is just going to churn out awesome full stack developers. Like I want to put you uh, through the experience of being able to understand what it's like to work in an enterprise environment. And by the way, it's for free. Like this is just voluntary. This is me trying to uh, give back to the community. And we'll go over that in a little bit, but it's just going to require a lot of hard work. Okay, I mean, if you can complete the projects, you're going to be able to understand what it's like to work in an enterprise environment. You're going to be able to you're going to understand the big picture. You're going to understand how you create software, and you're going to understand like how you actually deploy the software into the cloud. Like all of these things, you're going to be able to use this to showcase to the interviewer, and uh, it's going to increase your chances significantly in getting the job. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and continue on with the next slide. Do you guys see the agenda? Yep. Okay, great. So we're gonna be covering the introduction. We're gonna cover working with Crusader Games and what to expect. We're then going to talk about the project description and what kind of project you're going to be building. We're then going to do a little summary of the Agile process, and then we're going to talk about deployment. Okay. So first of all, welcome. We already give you a little quick blurb about us. So a little bit about me. My name's Jerry Balderas. If you haven't met me, I think all of you guys have. I think I've taught you guys the tech elevator, but for others who are not familiar with me, I owned a mortgage company from 2004 to 2008. I graduated from Ohio State in 2011. So during the mortgage company, when I owned it, it was awesome. I loved owning the company, but if you guys remember, there was a huge housing crash in 2006, and I battled for 2 years. Oh, see, football sucks. I battled for 2 years trying to keep that company alive. I actually met my wife there, and she's the one that convinced me to go back to school and to get a computer science degree. So I'm thankful for that. So I graduated from Ohio State in 2011. I was hired at Intel in 2011, but I was downsized in 2016. So at Intel, I was basically like a liaison between the OEMs and our like. So basically, I would work with the customers and figure out what Intel features we can add on them or add on their platform, and then help them out with all of that. There was no programming at all whatsoever. Okay, even though I loved programming at the time, this was not a programming job. So when I was downsized in 2016, I could not find a job at all, or I could not find a programming job. I knew at this point when I was downsized that we got to. I have to like. It was too. The job was just. It was not. It was fun, but it was not uh, gritty enough for me. Like I could not get. It just. It all of my skills basically started fading away because I was not practicing programming. So 2016, I searched all over the place, multiple interviews, right? Like 4 or 5 interviews, get all the way to the end, and then get rejected. I know exactly what you guys are going through. So it's very competitive out there, right? Uh, so in 2016, after we were downsized, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to create my own company. So with the blessing of my wife, I just went all in. So from 2016 to 2018, I built a custom Christian Minecraft server. It was so awesome, but it wasn't paying the bills. So it was an incredible experience. I got my hands dirty again. I was able to work in the Java programming language. I mean, this is not like a rinky-dink. Oh yeah, I'm going to create. Like I went all out on this. So custom plugins, made my own like custom features. I made a game called Soul Quest. Made a game called Demon Slayer, which were incredible. Uh, Soul Quest had like different items of lore, so you can not only was it like an RPG type of game where you can level up, but every item you get could be upgraded, and every item had like biblical lore in it. My whole thought process behind the game was to try to create the atmosphere, a biblical atmosphere. I don't know if you guys. I mean, this is an older game, Morrowind, but I really loved in Morrowind how the whole atmosphere was just voluntary and that you were just immersed into whatever lore, like the mythology that they had. And so I wanted to create a type of game, but it was all but from a biblical perspective. That game was so much fun, but unfortunately, it was not paying the bills, and so I had to go out and start finding a job in 2018. Uh, and this is kind of like, at this point, I was kind of, disappointed. I felt like going out and trying to create a Minecraft server for God would be like successful. So it was like a very naive outlook on it, right? But it was kind of like my own miracle here too, because I was hired by Pfizer in 2018 to work on their Minecraft server, which does not make any sense. Like, who the heck gets hired for to develop a Minecraft server? But that was amazing. That job was very high paying, and that's actually what allowed me to go into Cognizant to then be able to have that same salary. Um, so I was hired by Pfizer for Minecraft. Best job ever. 100% best job ever. I loved it. Actually, no. SoulQuest was actually the best job ever. Pfizer was second place. I was working on a game called HemoCraft there. But unfortunately, I finished the project. And after completing the project, I had to, they wanted to put me on a tech stack called MuleSoft. MuleSoft, you don't develop at all whatsoever. It's all point and click. And so I was like, no, I'm not gonna go into that. I'm not gonna fall into that trap again. You always got to be coding, right? So that's why I decided looking for another position after that. And so I got hired by Cognizant. I became a full stack developer, and on top of that, they ran us through this 4-week training process called enablement. They really thought I was good, so they brought me back to the enablement team as a full stack trainer. And so eventually, I actually started running that team, and I helped train over 200 developers, full stack developers, in the 2-year period. And so we covered an Angular, Spring Boot, MySQL tech stack. So I really had a passion for learning from that, and I started to understand the big picture of what enterprise companies were looking for. Okay. And then finally, in 2019, I saw. I mean, the money is all over the place, right? Like, I could see there's money just falling out from everywhere. So I was like, I got to get my son into this. So my son joined Tech Elevator after high school in 2019. And the reason I did that is because, yes, I could have trained him. At this point, you're like, how come you didn't train him yourself? The reason for that is because I'm a firm believer in confidence. You need confidence. You need to be able to experience it, right? And so, I mean, you know how kids are. If you stay there, keep telling them over and over again, do something, they're not really. It's different. That relationship is different than them going out into the field and talking to other people, and getting that kind of feedback from them, so they can stand on their own 2 feet. And so I did a lot of research on boot camps. Procrastinate. I did a lot of research on boot camps, and I found that Tech Elevator was the closest fit to Cognizant, which is the company that I was working at the time. And so that's why I pulled the trigger on that. So he went to Columbus. He was in person, which is another reason why I selected it, because it was an in-person boot camp, and you had that interaction with other people. Yeah, so he did really well there. They called him what is it, Jimmy Neutron. They kept calling him Jimmy Neutron because he was always helping out other students, and he was so young. So that was pretty cool for him. It definitely helped with his confidence. And so he eventually got after he graduated, he came back. I started training him some more. So I put him through another boot camp, which is very similar to what you guys are going through right now. And he was eventually hired at Cognizant 2020. He had a starting salary of like 95K or something stupid. Oh my gosh, man. Doesn't make any sense. 18 making that much money. Like, what? So that's, and then in 2021, he actually bought his own house. And so that's where that picture is on the left, bottom left. The picture on the bottom right, that's my daughter Trinity. She was also going into I also wanted her to go become a full stack developer, but she's actually training to be an EMT now because she found that she just does not like coding. It's too boring for her. And then there's my wife on the top right, Marsha. That's us going to DC. I think that's during January 6th, before before that whole debacle went down. Um, so yes, that is it. Let's go on to the next one. Uh, so welcome to Crusader Games LLC. All right. So our vision is to make fun Christian games which incorporate biblical lore and spiritual truths. On top of that, and this is kind of like our biggest objective right now, is to contribute to society by mentoring and nurturing other developers. So I've been very blessed by this industry, and I just want to see all of those blessings get passed on to all of you guys. This is life-changing money, and I just want my goal is to just be able to pass that along. And then finally, our last vision, our objective is to have fun. I have to remind myself all the time. I'm like a workaholic, so I am always trying to code. But you got to have fun, man. You can't. You don't have fun, then it's not enjoyable. What's the point? Okay. So what to expect? So the benefits of working on projects with us is you will have deployed projects in your portfolio. So this is all about show and tell. We're gonna create an awesome project. You're gonna be able to showcase it to anybody who's interested. And you're going to add a diagram and a photo to the app. So there's going to be like an About Us page on this app. It's going to have a diagram of your architecture so that you can use that to explain to interviewers what you did and worked on. And you're going to have a photo of you're going to have photos of the entire team, right? Like little avatar type photos of the entire team. This proves that you worked on it, one. And two, it kind of already highlights to the interviewer, like, oh, you know how to work on a team. Cool. You'll be able to add Crusader Games to your resume. So whenever you join the Discord, just put that as your start date, and you can add that work history immediately. And then just start listing all of the projects that you've been working on. And then you can use me as a reference as well. So the thing is, you got to be active. Like, you just can't, like, there's a lot of you guys, right? So you can't just say, oh yeah, Jerry, I'm going to use you as a reference, but then I have no context because I need to be able to tell a story, right? So just stay involved. If you're going to use me as a reference, ping me. Let me know what you worked on, right? And then that way I can then give that narrative to whoever's asking. And but just remember, like, I can't lie. Like, I have to be able to legitimately tell a good story about you. So you got to give me details. You got to tell me what you were working on, right? And then hopefully in the show, like in the demos, I'll be able to see what you were actually working on. But there's a lot of you, so you just got to make sure that you're giving me those reminders. And then finally, the benefits of working on the projects here is you learn from your teammates. So we're going to be following an agile methodology, which means that everybody's going to be working together on the same project. You're not working solo, okay? Everybody's working on the same project. Not everybody, but you're going to have multiple people working on the same project. You're going to be leaning on each other. You're going to be helping each other out. And this is where you start learning so much more. The lessons stick, and you gain the confidence that you need to continue forward. Okay. So does anybody have any questions? Nope. You can type them in if you like. All right. If you do have questions, feel free to type them in. What do you expect the time to commit for these projects? Okay, great, Laura. So, very good question from Laura. What do you expect the time commitment for these projects to look like? I've done this project with 5 teams so far. Okay, and for full-time teams, they were able to do it in a month. So a team of 10 was able to create a Bug Wars project in a month, working full-time, 8 to 5. Those guys were ridiculous too, by the way. Those guys were awesome. So I would say between 1 and 3 months, I would say, for you guys if you're doing part time. It could be even a little bit. It could even be longer than that. But that's really not like. So yeah, try to expect something along those lines. This is not going to be some simple thing that you're going to be able to do in a day. It's going to require a lot of work, and it's going to require all of you guys coming together, and you're going to have to. So the biggest thing is you got to be flexible. Okay, I'm kind of a one man show right now, especially. So look, there's already an error here on the. Oh my god, I thought I fixed this. So there's like you can see that there's going to be little mistakes here and there, right? Especially on the slide. So like, uh, you just got to be flexible. You got to when you work with your team, try to figure out the best times to meet, and then we can then go from there. Rob, if I can work full time, can I do something like 5 p.m.? Yes. This is all completely open to you guys. Like this isn't going to be once you guys choose your teams, you're going to be working with your teammates to figure out how to advance with the stories, and we'll cover that in a little bit. Should we add this to our LinkedIn as well to match our resume? Yes, 100%. This is an actual company. This is an LLC. If anybody wanted to look up Crusader Games, they'll find that it's registered to me and that it's in Texas. So yes, definitely add it to LinkedIn. Okay. Clint, you're a full stack developer. Okay, the question is, are we interns or junior devs? You are full stack developers. You are full stack developers. You are not interns or junior devs. You are full stack developers. Okay. Any other questions? I'm an internet by heart. Okay. Let's cover. Let's keep on going. If there are more questions, just go ahead and ask them. We can answer them after or during the question segment. So yes. So what I was saying, guys, please be flexible. Look, there's some errors right here at the bottom. So just if you're flexible and you're patient with me, things will run smoothly. I mean, I know not everything's gonna be perfect up front. Okay. So bug wars. So a little thing about bug wars. It's so basically there are bugs. It's a species. It's a game of a survival of the fittest type of thing. You have a bug or multiple bugs on a map, and these bugs represent a team, and they go on and they try to kill all of the other bugs. So bugs controlled by AI battle against each other in a top-down view. The players can't control the bugs. They write the AI using our custom programming language. So think about that. We are going to be writing our own custom programming language that players are going to be using to write the AI scripts. That's pretty cool. The bugs have to navigate obstacles like walls, food, other bugs as they try to survive. Okay, so a bug can only look straight ahead. You have to tell it to rotate right, rotate left, move forward, right? Bugs can attack other bugs if they do that. So if they're looking at a bug and the bug is in the spot in front of them, the bug, if it attacks it, will instantly kill it, replacing it with food. And then dead bugs equal food. So if a bug eats food, it spawns a new instance of itself. So this is how the bugs reproduce. So if it eats the food, it'll spawn a new instance of the bug, and then the bug starts running your AI script and just starts working from there. Okay, so when that new bug is spawned, it's going to start a whole new instance of your AI script, and then it'll just start going from there. So eventually, you're going to have, instead of the bugs are not going to act like it's just going to look very chaotic at that point, because the bugs are going to be following your script with different orientation. So you might have some bugs going left, you'll have other bugs going up or north, and it's pretty cool. Yeah, and the other things about bug wars. So it's a lot of colleges use this. So if you go back and look at the documentation that I included in the chat, this thing was, I think it was Cornell. But I am taking look. I worked on bug wars when I was at Ohio State. So this is an OSU. This comes straight from an OSU class. So you guys can be happy to know that the OSU curriculum is coming to you basically. Um, and the reason this project is so cool is because it is so involved. You have to create your own custom programming language, right? So that means somebody has to be able to type in they have to type the raw source code of this new language. You're going to have to create a parser, which then reads that text and then breaks it down into what are called tokens or like keywords, right? So I'll give you an example. So the bugs have to navigate obstacles like walls, food, other bugs as they try to survive. Like this line of text. This is raw string, right? But to tokenize it, you're going to split it by the spaces, right? So you want to split it up into words so that you now have like a list of strings composed of all of the words. So now you're going to have and then you'll have bugs, and you'll have all those guys separated out, and then you're going to then process them individually to then figure out what the program, what you're supposed to do with that program. Okay, so you have the parser, which then parses it. Once you then parse it and you get the tokens, you then have to translate those tokens into machine code. Okay, so when I say machine code, it's like a list of integers. So every command has its own assigned number to it. Okay, and so if you take these list of numbers, you basically now have the program. You know which commands you're supposed to execute. And so the game engine, you then have to write the game engine so that it can then process. So it'll take in, like, let's say it's a 4-player game, right? So let's say you have 4 AIs all against each other. The game engine is going to take those 4 lists of integers and then process them for each bug on the board individually and for every game tick. So like the first game tick, it'll execute like the first command of the AI. And then for the second game tick, it'll then execute the second command, and so on and so forth. Okay. There's a lot more documentation on this. I'm going to have to work on that and then give that to you guys as the weeks progress. But once we get that all fleshed out, it'll be a lot. You'll be able to have better stories and better objectives when trying to complete the projects. Okay, right now I just have everything mapped out in the big picture, and you're going to see it's huge. It's 70 cards, so it's a lot of work. So just please be patient with me. Okay. Any questions on this so far? And Bernice, do you have a demo on Agile? We have a question here. Do you have a demo on Agile? Yes, we will discuss that shortly. Okay. In fact, we'll talk about that next. So the next thing is going to be the Agile process. So Agile process is, you're going to see a lot of this SDLC. Okay. If you ever hear that, all it means is software development lifecycle. Okay. So SDLC is like a fancy term, right? Like it's scary sounding. It's not. It's basically, what is the process for you to create your software? That's it. What is the process that you use to create your software? There's multiple processes. Okay. The big one that you're going to hear is waterfall. So the waterfall process is a customer comes in and they ask a dev shop, or like a dev shop. They'll ask him, hey, can you please make this project for me? I want you to make a zombie shooter app for me. Okay, so they give them the requirements up front. Okay, and then the devs will then work on that for like 6 months, and then once they're complete with it, it's complete. Once they have completed it and everything's good to go, then they showcase it to the customer, and then the customer will accept it at that point. I mean, can you guys tell me what the problem with that is? Can you see any downfalls to that?
If your customer doesn't like what you spent 6 months working on, they're not going to want to pay you very badly.
Exactly. Exactly. Yes. So this was actually a huge problem in the industry, and so people started getting together to formulate a different way of doing things so that the customer always gets that continual feedback. And that is what the agile process is like, just like a marriage. Oh my gosh. Mayor said differences between expectations on each side, the customer and the dev shop. And then you responded with, yes, just like a marriage. Just kidding. And then Aaron say, not actually joking. Okay, let's not, we're going off on the deep end on this. Where was I? Oh yeah, so expectations. So with agile, they want to make it so that the customer is always getting that feedback. Okay, and that's what a sprint is. Okay, so a sprint is usually like 1 week or 2 weeks, or it could be a month. It doesn't matter. Like the team decides upfront, like what their sprint, how long the sprint's going to be. And so what happens is the team will work on the project for that amount of time, and then once they're completed with that amount of time, they will then demo to the customer what they have so far. Okay, and so this is why they call it agile, because now the customer can respond to your progress. They can see, oh, this is great, keep on doing what you're doing, or they can say something like, oh, we got to shift gears now, you got to do this, or there might be a bug that comes up in production that you have to fix. So they'll know, like, okay, you guys got to go fix this now. But because you guys are putting man hours into that, we're going to go ahead and allow you to work on, or that new feature that you're working on can be postponed. So like it's a way for the customer to communicate with the team in managing like the objectives and what the expectations are. Okay. So this is what agile looks like. So all of these things are actual meetings that you want to do. Okay. So the first thing is the grooming session, and the grooming session will typically be held with me. So we just got to figure out when we're going to schedule those. But what you do with the grooming session is you create the cards for the back. Okay, so let me explain. Let me show you. Let me see if I can show you a demo real quick. Let's see here. So let's go to crusadergames.net. Okay, so this is Crusader Games, the developer portal. This is what we're going to be using to track our projects. Okay, so it's a work in progress. If there are bugs, please report them to me. I will try to get them fixed as quickly as possible. But let me just give you a quick demo of this. So this is, I'm logged in right here, and these are all of my projects, okay? So every project has a backlog, all right? So when you click on backlog here, these are all of the stories that have to be completed. So these are like all of the work assignments that should be done for you to complete a component of that project, okay? So when we go back to this right here, the grooming session is the session where you create cards for the backlog, okay? So that's what I mean by this. So each of these are a card. This is a story card, okay? And I'll give you an example of this, like user registration. So the description is it allows users to register for an account. The acceptance criteria is users should provide necessary details and receive confirmation upon successful registration. Oh man, I don't like this. Might have to add more to this, but basically, like, this is the part where you put in things like when user puts in a username or submits a username that already exists, then user receives an error message. And then so on and so forth. So the acceptance criteria is like all of the things that tell you, how do I know that this is done? What are the expectations of this particular story? And then the description is, sorry for this one is, let me see if I can find another one. Let me see if I can find a better one. Implement user login. No, these are really bad. Let me go back and find another one. Let's see if I can go here to this one. Set up backend repository. Nope, that's a task. I'm gonna have to work on these guys. Sorry about that. But you want to be very descriptive in your stories. You want to be able to explain to them. Every developer needs to understand what the scope of the feature is, and then the acceptance criteria is then used to tell you if it's complete or not. So let me give you. So when you go back over here, right? let's see here, your projects. I went to bug wars, backlog, user registration. Okay, so what we want to do is the acceptance criteria. Once you complete a story, what you want to do is you want to hand this off to one of your teammates, and then they will go back and test your story based on this acceptance criteria. Okay, and so that is where you're going to see like wires getting crossed. That's where you're going to see people, their interpretations of things, and that's where it kind of gets fun here, because people might not interpret this acceptance criteria the same way you did, and so they're going to start pushing back on your code. They're going to start reporting bugs, and they're going to say like, "Well, I don't think it works. This doesn't work the way it says here." And so that's where the team can collaborate with each other to then figure out uh, what has to be done to get the story completed. So let's go back. Let me just review this real quick. So over here, the grooming session is the place where you create the cards for the backlog. You need a good description, and you need the acceptance criteria. Okay. Um, then you're going to have so you're going to have all of this. And then here in the backlog, these are all the stories, right? When you click on one of these stories, it's, oh man, I'm going to bash ChatGPT. Like I thought it was doing a good job, but it didn't do a good job with these. I'm going to have to go back and change these. There's so many of them though. Okay. So the description here tells you what exactly you're expecting. The acceptance criteria tells you the criteria that is essential for you to then say that it is complete. Okay. And let's go back to this. The sprint planning session. Okay. So the sprint planning session is held before a sprint is done. All right. So before the sprint is done, we have a meeting where we go through and we actually select which ones of these stories will go into a sprint. Okay. So what we would do here is, you see all of these stories here, we would say, okay, we're going to work on user registration. So we're going to work on sprint 1, and we're going to work on user login for this sprint. So that means that you are now committing to the customer that you're going to have a demoable app with user registration and user login at the end of this sprint period, which is 2 weeks. So once you do that, right, you go into the sprints. You then go into sprint 1, which is where you put those cards. And then that is now where you then work for. Now you're going to have tasks here. And then that's where you're going to be working in that 2-week time frame. This is what tracks that 2-week time frame. Okay. Hopefully I explained that right. Then we have our daily stand-up. So the daily stand-up is you meet every day for 15 minutes. So again, this is all up to you guys. You guys can meet whenever you want. Everybody just comes in together and they just talk about, okay, this is what I was working on today. What I think the better way of approaching this is if everybody pair programs. If everybody pair programs, everybody gets to learn from each other, right? And so if one person, let's say you can't meet for a specific day, that's fine. People can work individually. But if you're working as pairs, everybody can learn from each other, and everybody can continue to just get better at the tech. But the daily stand-up is used for everybody to meet around for just 15 minutes. It's short and sweet. What are you working on? What kind of obstacles am I seeing? Has anybody else seen any issues with this? Can you help me out? Type of thing. This is kind of like letting everybody come together and just getting a sync on what everybody's working on, what issues they've seen, type of thing. Okay, and it should be short. You don't want to have a lot of downtime because people stop. They like start like falling asleep during these meetings. And then finally, there's 2 more meetings after this. There's the demo. So after the 2-week period, so if we go back over here, everybody's gonna be assigned these cards, right? And they're gonna be working on these things as they go through the sprint. Once all of these things get moved to closed, all of these tasks get moved to closed, then you can consider that this story is complete. And then hopefully by complete, this thing is actually deployed to the cloud so you can actually demo it to the customer. Like you're not demoing it from your machine. It should already be deployed to the cloud. It should be at, www.example. You guys are not going to have that, but you're going www.netlify.com. It should be hosted on the cloud so that the customer can actually see it. It should already be deployed. Like it should be live at that point. Does that make sense? Okay. And let's go back here. And then finally, after the demo, you're going to have a retro where you meet for an hour and you vent with your teammates. So there's a whole process that goes with this. You list out your likes, your dislikes, and your notes of interest. And everybody just goes around talking about that for that specific 2 weeks. This is the drama. This is where the popcorn happens. I love retros because that's when people get into arguments. That's when that's this is the time to clear the air basically with any grievances and just to make sure that the team stays healthy. Exactly, sips tea. Sippy tea and eating popcorn. Those are that I love doing it. Okay. There's a lot of information there, guys. Do you guys have any questions? Yeah, Daniel, the question is, will groups be created today? Yes, groups will be created today. Are there limits for team size? I would say yes. I think 10 might be a little bit too much. I would say eight-man teams are going to be good. I mean, if you guys want to compete with the other teams, though, with that first team, maybe we should go 10. If you gave birth to them, they should be on your team. I agree. So Josh asked, for the daily stand-up, is there going to be a specific time that'll be the same for everyone? No, there isn't. It's based on your team. So that because it's too hard. Like there's so many people, it's really hard to organize that. Ethan asked, can I not join a group with my students? But he's using students as derogatory because he's helping out his parents. Yeah, the daily. So the question is, so the daily stand-up will be determined by what our team decides. Yes, everything is based on what your team decides. Oh yes, Laura brings up a good point. Please keep in mind that Discord works great on phones too. You don't have to be at your computer for the team meeting. Rob asks, "Can I be on Laura's team?" Yes, you can if you want. Okay. Any other questions? All right. So the biggest thing from all of this, right? Why do we want to? Okay, developers have a love-hate relationship with Agile. Okay, I'm telling you that right now. Like you're gonna have this love-hate relationship with it. People do not like having the retros. I enjoy them because I love drama. Right. This is my entertainment. Um, but I do know that they do help with team health. So you definitely want to stick with them as much as you can. Okay. Um, the demo is high pressure, high stakes. Like that is you're showcasing to the customer. This is where they. This is a dangerous meeting. The demo. That's when the customer could get very very mad at you guys. So there's usually a lot of high stakes involved with that as people prep to get that thing deployed, which is going to be very cool to simulate for you guys because you're going to experience that. Um, but this is something that should be done. So we're going to have to schedule. I will schedule that. I will be the customer. You can schedule these with me, or maybe some other moderators, and then we can then you can then showcase your work to everybody. And typically, I think what we should do is we should do like when we do a demo, it should all be together as a group so that all the groups can then demo to each other, and then you can see how everybody else does it. It'll be a good learning experience for everybody. Um, the sprint planning sessions are also very important. But they don't have to be that long. Like this is just at the beginning of the sprint. You then talk about okay, what stories are we going to put in there, and then you just put them in. And then the grooming session. So every story, I think every team will have a tech lead, And so the grooming session, I can meet with the tech leads and kind of explain to them what is going on with the stories. We can update the cards a little bit. And then that way you can then go back to your teams and explain to them what the expectations are. Okay. Any questions before we continue? When we run into issues, who do we contact? Will there be tickets similar to Tech Elevator? So I'm sorry, I'm laughing at that because when you're out in the field, there is no Tech Elevator tickets. Like it's you and your team. You guys are on an island. You guys are like, yeah, it's Stack Overflow, it's Google, it's your teammates. Like everybody is on the raft together, and they're just trying to get to shore. So it's going to be an amazing experience. Oh my gosh, you just said ChatGPT. I will. So, I mean, I will. I will try my best to like give guidance here and there, but I'm very busy. So even if you send me a question, I might not respond for like a few hours. But I can say this: all of you guys are going to be working on the same project, and because of that, you guys will all be able to help each other. So people, you're going to see other teams that are actually experiencing the same issues that you are, and then you guys can then help each other from there. But this is the big show, guys. Like this is it. Like you are going to be. I'm throwing you into the deep end. This is how. This is how you learn. And that's why I said when you come out of this, you're going to be ridiculously confident. You're going to know like what the experience is like. Maybe we should do 10-man teams. That way there's some you have that you just have the with that number of people, you'll be able to shoot ideas from each other, right? And if somebody has to go offline, then you'll still have a lot of people there that can carry the slack, right? So I think we'll go with 10-man teams. And what else was I going to say? 10-man teams. I forget. I'll remember in a little bit. Okay. Any other questions before we continue? Or be bugs, leave bugs, and the war on them. Yes. Maybe our code will actually be bugs and the war on them. Yes, it will be the war on your bugs, and it's going to be fun, and you're going to be beating your head against the wall. But just remember, you have a bunch of other teams who will also be working on it. Ah, shoot. How many people do we got here? We got 35. If we do team, we only have 3 teams. But if we do 8, then we'll have 4 teams. I think 8 might actually be better because if you have 4 teams, you now have 4 different teams working on. Oh, we can do 7-man teams 5. Yeah. If we do 7-man teams 5, that means you have 5 different outlets at that point. Everybody can help each other out. So I think that helps us from a like a risk perspective. Yeah, there's definitely not everybody here. Or there's more people that will be interested, but yeah, you can definitely add them to your team. Okay. Um, if you have any questions, keep on streaming them in. So next thing is deployment. So this is a programmable. Oh, I messed that up. It's a programmable game, obviously, but the tech stack is Vue 3, JS, Spring Boot, and PostgreSQL. You can pick whatever language you want, but I'm just saying for now, let's all agree to use the same tech stack because this is what all the Tech Elevator students have been trained on, right? I know we have students from other boot camps that have not learned Vue, but you can, if you don't know Vue, don't worry about it. You can work with your teammates. You can pair program with them, and they can like show you how it all works. And so the tech stack is Vue 3, Spring Boot, Postgres, SQL. Task management is going to be done through crusadergames.net. So that's the app that I showed you. Crusader Game. Typically, what you use out in the field is Jira. You use Azure DevOps. There are other management systems out there that are way better than my app. But the only reason I'm using a custom app is because I can reuse all of those bugware cards. There's just so many of those. It's like 100. It's gonna be like 100 cards to map out this entire process, right? And so it would be nice to be able to just duplicate that on the fly easily. And I'll not only that, but I'll be able to gear the site to pair programming and just other little features that Jira and Azure DevOps don't have. So this app will actually be tailored for our training process. Um, the code repositories that we're going to be using is github.com. Okay, so you want to make this public because you want to showcase this to everybody. Okay, so uh, somebody is going to have to choose, or somebody's going to have to host the GitHub for everybody. Okay, and then you got to send out collaborators or send out invites to collaborators, and then that way everybody can then work together. Okay. For cloud hosting, we're going to be using Netlify, GitHub Pages, and Render. So these services are free, and that's why I chose them, because you want to choose free cloud hosting platforms so that you can deploy your site to. And basically, once you deploy the site, you can visit it on the web like it was a regular website. And then you can visit it from your phone. So while you're in an interview, it would be awesome if you can just take out your phone and show it to them, show them your About Us page, show them the functionality on the phone itself, and it's impressive. Like and then you can explain how you deployed it, the pipeline, how you work with the team, with the Agile process, how you did pair programming, all of that, right? Um, Deploy pipeline is going to be through GitHub Actions and Docker. So GitHub Actions is a free scripting language that comes with GitHub that allows you to do the deployment process for your project. So what that means is so even though you write the code right, you got to build the jar file, right? And then once you build the jar file, you got to copy that jar file and put it in the cloud somewhere so that the cloud can then run that jar file. So all of that process requires like command line steps. So you have to type it in the command line, right? Upload the file, do all that stuff. What a pipeline is, it's just a script. All it does is just automates that process for you. So that and then the goal is every single time you make a code change to your master branch, it'll then run tests to make sure that it's executable, and then it'll build the artifact, and then it'll deploy it to the cloud automatically. So that's the goal. That's called CI/CD, which is continuous integration, continuous deployment. Once you get that once you get that up and running, it's sweet because you guys all do pull requests against the master branch. Somebody else approves it, or the tech lead approves it, and then once it gets injected, and then it gets built and automatically deployed, and everything is just it's turnkey. You don't even have to worry about it. It's all automated. It's so cool. And once you get into the rhythm of that, like you can start making code changes very quickly. Any questions on this? Okay. All right, and then finally, guys, I just want to say thank you for everything. We're gonna end this by doing a quick demo of the dev board. All you have to do so to get started, go ahead and register onto the dev board. We'll start figuring out the different teams, and actually we can cover we'll set up the teams together. Okay, so all right, okay, so any questions before we get started with that? I see some questions coming in. Are you guys hyped?
Oh, we're hyped.
Love it. So just to give you a little background, the expected time commitment. This is going to be. This is all part time. You're going to work with your team. The question is, I missed the introductory slides. What is the expected time commitment? You work with your team to figure out when you can meet. I'm assuming that this is from a part time cohort. A lot of you guys are from a part time cohort. So I know you guys already have full time jobs. So just be flexible and work with your teammates. Just to give you yeah, thank you, Ashley, for the URL. So just to give you some insight on this project, I ran this project with 40 people at Cognizant. They all loved it. It was full time though, 10-man teams. At the end of the 4 weeks, it was very high pressure. People were, because we loved the game so much. Everybody was trying to create the game so that they can have. We had like a game day where everybody competed against each other. So we had like a little tournament at the end where everybody got to test their finished products. So much fun. Um, and then I decided to. So after that, we swapped apps because we wanted to keep changing the programs so that people wouldn't get bored through the training. So we swapped apps, and then we didn't get to do it again. I forget the reason why. But then I did this again with the 8-man team from different boot camps. So I used to teach at lunch every day. Because like I said, I have a passion for this, and I'm trying to reach out, right? And so these 8 guys came in, and we all started working on Bug Wars together. They couldn't even finish it because they all got hired. I mean, that's how awesome this project is. So like, and it was kind of cool too, but it sucks because they didn't finish it. They were actually making some pretty good strides on that. So I'm not saying that I'm guaranteeing you that you're going to get jobs from this, but what I am saying is by the time you complete this, you're going to be so confident that even if you can't get a job, it's not you. I'm telling you that it's not you. Like you know the job at that point. Maybe it might be like working on more better questions, or I don't know, but you should have a lot of confidence after you complete all this. Register not working. Clint was able to register. Daniel. Oh shoot, we got some bugs already. Okay. I'm sorry, guys. We're gonna have to do some manual changes of that. I did not test changing the display name. If you cannot, I'm embarrassed. If you go to the help, so the help channel on the left. If you can't come up with the username and password, then go ahead and put it in there, and I can go ahead and manually create it for you. Okay, let's go ahead and look at the dev board here. So let's go ahead and create. I already created some projects here. I have Bug Wars Red Team, Bug Wars Blue Team, Bug Wars Green Team. So let's go ahead and start formulating the teams. That's hilarious, Daniel. You could actually create cards in this app to put bugs. I need to make a dev board project. I haven't done that yet. I can make a dev board project, and then you can create defects in there. Yes, it should. Or maybe, I don't know. If you have bugs, well, we could talk about this later, guys. Sorry about that. Let's go ahead and start scheduling the teams. And we can start working from there. So we have one team already. What do you guys want to call your team? is Laura's team. I'll put Laura in here. So Laura,
Yeah, we've got Laura, Rob,
okay,
Kimley, Ashley,
okay,
and I'm going to pronounce your name wrong. I'm really sorry, but Yagmer
Yagmer, okay.
and Sam.
Anybody else? Sam, okay, great. Okay, so if you want to join the team, then go ahead and click on join on here. So what do you guys? Do you have a team name, Laura? The healers, the bug war healers, or
Yeah,
I don't
let's
know.
do it. Bug War Healers. I like it. You can take after my WoW character. Let's go.
And uh, as far as sprints are concerned, right? Like if I hit save, or what do you guys? There's 1 week sprints, 2 week sprints, and I put every calendar month.
Let's start with 2 week sprints because I want to keep part time expectations.
Yes. Okay. I agree with you on that. I think everybody. So everybody, we're all going to go with 2 weeks. So I'm going to hit save. And then let's go back. So bug war healers. If you now if you go back to public projects here, you're going to see bug war healers. If this is your team, click on, and if this is your team and you can log in, then click on join, and then you will now have access to that project. And so when you go to your projects here, you'll then see that there's bug war healers. There's a backlog here, and then we can then start working on the separate stories. Okay. So we can actually walk you through. I can walk you through this real quick. So now that we have this here, right, we could start the sprint today. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to sprints here. We're going to create a new sprint. Okay. And so this sprint starts from December 9th and ends December 23rd. So it's going to go 2 weeks. So 9th to the 23rd. All right. And then here is the sprint backlog. There's nothing in here right now. Okay. So the sprint backlog are the stories that you're going to choose to put in for for those 2 weeks. So I think we shouldn't be too ambitious. I think what we should do is we will add set up the front end repository. So we're going to assign this to sprint one, and then set up backend repository. We're going to put that in sprint one, and then configure the CI/CD pipeline. Let's go ahead and add that as well. So what we're basically going to be doing is work on just create a UI like app. Like it doesn't even do it shouldn't do anything. It should just be the default Vue.3.js app. You're going to create a dummy backend, or not a dummy, but like a very skeletal backend project. Just make sure that you can get that up and running, right? And then you're going to try to figure out how to deploy it to the cloud and try to do it automatically. So once we assign these 3 sprints, or I assign these stories to these 3 sprints, we now go to the sprints here. You then go to the sprint backlog where you now see those 3 stories and you see all of the tasks associated with them. And then when you click on the sprint task board, this is now where you can then start assigning. Oh, cool! I see you guys joined. You can now start assigning cards to yourselves, and then they're all brand new. So then you move them to active. Once you're completed with it, you go to resolved. You then ask another teammate to test it just to verify that it works properly. If it does not work properly, they're going to report a bug, which is they create another card here. I want to work on the functionality before we do that, because this is it's a very drawn out process. So then once you do that, and then once they sign off on it, then they can close it. And then once they close it, you then move on with the next task and keep on going forward like that. And then once you get all of these tasks to the very end, then this thing will then be closed. Okay. And then your goal is to then complete all of the stories for that given sprint. And then you want to make sure that you can demo that story to your customer, which will then be the following Saturday. So since it ends on December 23rd, we'll have like a demo session, like another hour session like we have right now, and then everybody can just showcase their stuff to everybody. All right. So oh wow. So it's thank you, Melanie, for that. Successful log when they changed my username to all lowercase. Oh yeah. I can't believe I got that. That's a bug. All right. Any questions on this, guys? We can go back and work on the teams. There we go. Okay, so let's work on the teams now. So Team Unity for the Blue Alumni. Oh my gosh, Unity. Wow. I love it. Let's do it. Oh. Bug Wars, Team Unity. Okay, and then who do we have on that team? We have Yoon. Or is it? Are you, Clint? Are you just saying Unity just for? Oh, Bernice, you might be the. Heck yeah. Okay. So give me. So who wants to be the tech lead for Team Unity? Are we assuming it's Yoon? And Aaron, would you want to head up your own team? Come on, Aaron. You will be able to benefit so many people. Oh my gosh. Well, here's the thing. Like, we got to be careful about stacking the teams too much. You get what I'm saying? Like, everybody should. We want to try to distribute this a little bit so that everybody can learn from each other.
You're giving me entirely way too much credit here, Jerry.
No, I'm not, man. You're a beast. Okay, Solomon, do you want to be the Night Owls then? Yes, Daniel. Yes, Daniel. Be a tech lead. What's your team name? Chill team. Okay, I'm going to create a new team here. So let me show you how this works too. So I'm looking at my projects here. I'm going to create a new project, and I'm going to call this Bug Wars Chill Team. And we're going to put you first, Daniel. So you're the tech lead. You already have experience with Agile. So Bernice, would you like to join Daniel? Or did you already join somebody? All right, Sam S. All right, Reynolds' team is joining. I think we should split you guys up. So we'll go with Ethan and Kirk here. That way you guys aren't bottlenecked on together. You can still help each other out. Okay. Okay, so shoot, let's figure out how we can do this. Let me see if I can get an Excel spreadsheet here. Okay, so one of them, so we have team healer, right? So we'll have healer, and then we have Laura as the tech lead. You're the tech lead, right, Laura?
I think I was nominated, yep.
Okay, great. We have team chill, so that's Daniel Owens. What are the other teams? Oh, Unity. This is Yoon. Anybody else? What are the teams we got here? Sorry. Night Owls. That's right. Let's go. The Night Owls. Patrick, do you want to do the Night Owls? You want to be tech lead for Night Owls? All right. Patrick's going to be the night owl, so he's Solomon. Okay. Any other team? So there's one more team then, right?
I take it back. I want blue steel. No, I'm just kidding.
We have one more team, right? We have 34 people on. So do you want me to just call it Team Josh for now? Master Blasters, Codecaster. Codecasters? I kind of like Codecasters. How about Slinging Code? Code Slingers? You want to be Code Slingers? Yeah, I guess we can go with Team Josh for now. Okay, so Josh is the tech lead. And then, Laura, who do you have on your team?
I've got Rob, Kimlin, Ashley, Yammer, Sam F, and Viv.
Yammer. Shoot, I forgot how to spell your name. Yammer.
Yagmur.
Oh, yeah, okay. And who else?
Sam F.
Sam F. Good.
And Viv. I don't know her last name, and I've never met her
Viv.
before, but I'm sure she's awesome.
Great. Okay, and then Daniel, who do we have? Melanie J, Melanie, and Steve H. Josh, if you're not gonna be team lead, then you can nominate. You guys can all choose somebody else. Let's see here. Aaron, you don't want to be team Josh? You're a beast, dude. I'm telling you. You can even put it in your title as tech lead. If you choose
In
tech
all honesty, I just don't feel confident to be a team lead. I'm happy to give it a try, but I am not confident.
bro, you're a tech lead. So basically, all you do is you help out. You're kind of like the insurance policy for the team. Like you're just there to kind of like help people. You can do it easily. Yeah, that's you. It's your personality. You just help people. You help them out, and I'm just trying to like delegate stuff to you because I'm like a one man show, right? So I'm trying to like delegate stuff to you so that you can go in and then communicate to the rest of the team.
Empowering in my corner, like
What's that?
You do you, Jerry. If you want to put me in there, I will. I'm not opposed to it, but I'm just saying I'm nervous and not confident, if that makes sense.
Okay. Everybody's nervous and not confident.
It's Ron, if you will.
Ron. Gotcha. Okay, cool. Okay, so there's everybody. If you do not see your name on here, please. Daniel, who's on your team? Michelle, you said you want to be with Ethan. Are you good with that? Okay, and then I will put Kirk. What's Team Yoon look like?
All right, so for now it's Clint, and well, I guess both Christopher Bendersky and
oh my
Chris.
gosh!
That's about.
Are you kidding me?
I did.
Oh my gosh, man.
Teams.
Dude, you just.
Okay. All right. You can.
No. Hey. So, Alyssa is still in boot camp. She's not graduated, so you can definitely help her out here.
Sure.
Kirk just barely graduated, so you can help him out here. So, dude, this team's ridiculous.
I was about to grab Mahir as well, but okay, like If you think we have
Yeah,
too much power or something,
no,
you can
you're
split
good.
us up.
You're
yeah.
good. You're good. You're good. Oh my gosh. Patrick, are you gonna? I'm assuming you're gonna get Sean. This team's really stacked. Like this team is ridiculously stacked. Anybody else? Who? What other teams you guys got? I'd like team with night availability. Yes. So who are the late night owls for Patrick's team? And Patrick can jam too. Exactly. Laura's like, if a team's pushing too quickly, they become tech support. You can start filing tickets with them. All right, Monique is a night owl. Great. Eli is a night person. Great. I love it. Nice, Chris. Sam S is on chill. Nice. Sue Dalton is a night owl. Great. Josh, Bianca. So Bianca's on your team. Okay. Steve and James. Ooh, nice. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so Team Josh is complete. Team Unity is complete. Gosh dang, man. The Night Owls are almost complete. Yeah, Team Chill. We need more members for Team Chill. Anybody else? If you're missing the spot, let me know, please. Bernice to Team Josh, yes. Well, Team Josh might already be filled with too many, but it's okay. We'll
Yoon has the equivalent of like 20, so it's okay.
I know.
What
I
the-
know. He does, man. Oh shoot.
Guys, relax.
Team Anxiety? You want me to change that to Team Anxiety?
That's actually hilarious. Actually, can you just change my team name to Team ChatGPT?
No. Oh my gosh.
I'm just kidding.
Okay, let's go through this. So everybody here? There's 34 people here. 8, 9, 10, 11, 19, 20, 21, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
You've
7,
got
28, 29, 33. Oh, I got 31.
you've got Liz Rock wanting to join Team Chill.
Oh,
and
cool. Thank you. Thank you.
Parker, whatever the heck that last name is, as well.
Awesome. So
Raise hands if you're not in a team.
yes, please. Sean needs to be on the team but couldn't make it today. I could put Sean with Patrick. Lauren said she wanted to be on chill. Okay, cool. Great. All right. Now it's looking like 35. Yeah. So now we got everybody here. Okay. So now when do we start? You guys can start whenever you want. Like you can start right now. So now that we have these names, we got to figure out how to get you guys your account set up. So if you have issues with logging in, please put them in the help channel and I can go ahead and set them up for you. Yeah, meet with everybody. And so here's your goals right now. I'm just going to say them right away. So there's stories for these things, but basically this is what you want to do. You want to write a GitHub repository for the UI, okay? And then you want to make a GitHub repository for the backend, Okay. Then you're going to want to create a Vue3.js UI application, and you're going to want to put it inside of your GitHub here, right? And then you're going to want to get a Spring Boot application and put it in here. You want to make sure that everybody has access to this. All right. So make sure that you exchange emails, that everybody is like collaborators on there, and that everybody has access to it. Okay. And then what you're going to then want to figure out, it's part of the story of deploying to the pipeline. You're going to want to figure out how to deploy. I think the easiest one is Netlify. So you're going to want to figure out how to deploy your UI to Netlify. And then you're going to want to figure out how to deploy your backend to render. And so this is going to require using Docker Desktop. Okay. And it's going to be a manual process. Okay, so and then Laura can help you out with this. That's where her write-up came from. So basically what you want to do is you want to be able to build the Spring Boot application and then deploy it to the cloud. And then you're going to want to have your application actually call the backend. And if it can do that, we'll probably have to create another story for that. But you want to be very methodical, piecemeal. Like you just don't want to. You're gonna have plenty of time to work on the stories themselves. For now, it's all about setup. You're building it from scratch. You want to make sure that everybody understands where everything is, and that you can start so that everybody's comfortable, so they can then start committing code. And then once you get all of this stuff working, then I would suggest you work on the user registration, and then work on user login. Okay. So this stuff already has a lot of boilerplate code out there with the Bookmark Tech Elevator app. So you can just take that code and then try to incorporate it into your UI here and into the backend. But these two things by themselves are pretty hard. Even though it's just copying code, you still got to go through and make sure that it's fleshed out properly. Like you saw, I had bugs on mine. So you want to make sure that everything is fleshed out properly, and you're testing it, and that everything is in good working order. So that when you then demo this, you can then demo that yes, I can log in, I get proper error messages. Like this should look very polished. Any questions? And if you want to see those stories here, like if I go to Bug Wars Team Unity, first things first, you want to create the sprint. Remember, you want to create the sprint first. So you're starting today. Once you have the sprint assigned, you can go back to your backlog here of your stories, and then you can now assign them. So we're going to set up the front end repository, sprint 1. We're going to set up the back end repository, sprint 1. And then we're going to configure our CI/CD pipeline, sprint 1. Okay? Once this is done, and then you go to your sprints, you can then go to your sprint backlog just to verify that everything is there, right? And then when you go to the sprint task board, you can now see that these stories have been set up. And then you can just go through and then work through them. Any questions? And finally, I will be meeting with you guys Tuesdays and Thursdays, so we can do office hours Tuesdays and Thursdays if you like, where I can come in and I can like help you out with stuff, and we can talk about different things. So we do have a Crusader. I think we have a YouTube of Crusader. I have a YouTube channel with Crusader Games Dev. It's right here. I don't have anything on there yet, but all of the. In fact, Laura, if you can give me a copy of this video, I can upload it on here. But I can now start putting up lessons from Tuesdays and Thursdays up here, and then you guys can always go back and reference them if you like. Tuesdays and Thursday times, it'll be the same times I did the office hours before. Shoot, I forget what time it was. Was it 7? Yeah, it was 7. 7 o'clock CST. Yeah, it'll be on Discord. Okay, hopefully that is enough for you guys to get started. Do you guys have any questions before we sign off? And if you feel lost, like you have your head cut off, welcome to Enterprise. This is exactly how it is.